Hi, I'm going to show you some features which I've been implementing in the new Axis core in the last few weeks. So this follows on from a previous demo where I was showing interactive micropolygon rendering. So this is a scene I've whipped up to show off depth of field sampling. So if I just turn on depth of field in the rib file, you can see that we've got depth of field rendering. So there's some things there's a certain focal depth. Everything at that depth is in focus. Things which are further away and things which are closer are out of focus. You can also see that occlusion works correctly, things like that. So objects in the foreground have a blurry edge, and they're correctly occluding things in the background. Another thing that might strike you in this scene is that we've got rather a large amount of noise. So that's just because I had to turn the sample rate down to make this thing interactive. We can certainly turn that up, and I'll do that in a minute. Another thing which I was going to point out is there's a bit of strobing you can see in this image. That's what these straight lines here are about. That's due to the fact that the sampling method we've implemented is called interleaved sampling. So that seems to be quite good for kind of quick and dirty kind of previews, but it's not quite so good for high quality. At least that's my initial impression. So I think I'm going to implement another method as well, just to try things out, and see how the speed compares and stuff. Okay, so as I said, I'll just turn up the quality a bit, so you can see that you can get good results out of this, but it certainly makes it a lot slower to render. I'm going to have to compare that with the other method, the other major method on offer, and see how the speed compares. Okay, so on to the next example, I think. So this example is showing off motion blur. So this is the same cloth draping over a cube which I had last time, and this is deformation motion blur. So you can see that the parts which are not moving very much aren't blurred, and the parts which are moving quite a lot are blurred a lot. Okay. So another interesting thing is we can turn on depth of field. Whoops. We can turn on depth of field at the same time, and it doesn't affect the speed of the thing too much. So yeah, if I zoom right out, then it'll turn into a little blurred blob, and that's due to the depth of field blurring. If I'm at the focal distance about here, then most of the blurring is due to just motion blur. Okay, so maybe I'll just turn up the sample quality on that as well, just for the sake of it. You can see that, we can get some, it looks a lot nicer with the high quality. Okay, also I think that's more or less about it for this time. So yeah, thanks for listening.